Okay, as I mentioned, we are
2 o'clock in the morning.
we're honored to be part of this event here with you guys. My name is Jary Carter. I'm one of the co-founders here at OroCRM. And I am going to talk about doing marketing automation on a shoestring budget. So I'm sure all of your budgets are ample large, but there are groups out there and individuals out there that are trying to do marketing automation with a smaller budget, with limited resources, living in a resource-constrained model. And I'm going to talk about that. Before I talk about that, I just want to give a little bit of context as to where I'm coming from and where we've been as a company, just to give you a little bit of context into our lens as a business. So I'm going to give just a very brief background into who Oro is and our beginnings. And then I'm going to talk about some of the challenges that we really set out to address. Challenges that you're seeing every day in the Australian market, challenges that we see on a global scale, certainly day in and day out. And then I want to talk about a couple of case studies about some companies that are doing some interesting things around marketing automation and customer segmentation. And then I'll show you just briefly within our product how some customers are solving these issues. And then I'll pass it to James Horne over at Balance Internet to talk about some local case studies and some things that he's seeing on the market on this side. So with that, who is Oro? Oro is a team of 90 plus passionate people led by myself, Yoav Cooper, and Dima Soroka. What the three of us have in common is that we actually all came from Magento. Yoav was the CTO and co-founder of Magento. Dima was the original chief architect of Magento product, and I led worldwide sales channel and go-to-market up until 2012. And what we saw was that there was no real customer management tool for multi-channel and e-commerce businesses. And there was no true flexible, customizable platform for customer management. And we were hearing this over and over as we were talking to Magento customers. We were experiencing it ourselves and trying to use proprietary platforms that just did not do what we needed them to do. And so we started our own product because we were entrepreneurs and we know how to build products. We built OroCRM. That was a CRM for commerce, and it was built on a flexible, reliable, and consistent platform. Well, the market responded. Since we started, we've had actually we have now over 16,000 active installations of the product. Actually, this slide was created about a month or two ago, and now we're up well up over 20,000 active installations of the product. So we are moving very, very quickly. We've seen in the past 3 months that we've doubled our installations of the product. So there's a real momentum. And why is there momentum growing around OroCRM as a product? It's the momentum that you all are seeing in the market every single day. The momentum is built around the fact that there is really only one source of sustainable competitive advantages for businesses from all over the world, from your market, from the US market, from what we're seeing all across Europe. There's only one source of sustainable competitive advantage, and that is creating a better customer experience. Businesses have to create a better customer experience to really win in 2015 and beyond. We know that price won't work. People expect that you will have the lowest prices.
The name of your brand won't work. Certainly not the way it did even 10 years ago. Only 25% of people report being brand loyal anymore. The only thing that will win is customer experience. Now, there's more challenges than there ever have been before, and there's also more opportunity. But I'd like to talk about 3 challenges and opportunities facing all e-commerce merchants. So these are the 3, sort of real challenges and opportunities that are facing the multi-channel merchants, marketing automation, businesses from all over the world. What need your customers more than they need you? This is an uncomfortable reality for all of us, but it's true. Customers have more choice than they ever have had. And they have this choice because of the proliferation of the internet, the proliferation of the worldwide market. They have more choice, which means that we have to be more compelling than we ever have been. We have to create a better customer experience. We have to create a customer experience that's not only great, but also effortless. We have to create a personalized customer experience that takes into consideration our customers' preferences, who they are, what they like, and makes our marketing automated and real-time to them in a way that they feel that they're getting a personalized service from our business. Second, customers share more information than they ever have. Well, as a marketer, this is both an opportunity, but also a risk, because what that means is customers have within their pockets their devices that they can share if they have a bad experience, which means that they can also share if they have a good experience. So these experiences that customers are having are actually getting proliferated out into the market much more quickly than they used to. It used to be, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, if somebody had that experience, they went home, they maybe talked to a family member, maybe they talked to a friend about the experience, but that's all that was talked about. Now, with mobile devices, with social sharing, with all of the megaphones that people have to share their experiences, they really are sharing more than they ever have about their experiences, which means that we need to create better customer experiences. The third item is that technology doesn't always play nicely. And as marketers within the marketing software space, we know this better than anyone else. Email marketing doesn't always talk to what we're doing from an offers and ads and targeting standpoint. The way our customer service team is actually talking to a customer doesn't contemplate the things that they purchased. And so because technology isn't really helping us create a single view of the customer, we can actually create stilted conversations with our customers, conversations that are relevant. We market to them things that are interesting to them. We show them products or spend valuable marketing dollars showing them products that actually aren't interesting or that don't sort of connect with their wants and desires. And when we do this, at best, we sort of don't connect with the things that they want. At worst, we end up frustrating them and annoying them. And not because our marketing intentions aren't good, it's just that our technology isn't playing together and we don't really understand who our customer is. So how does Oro solve the problem? How have we thought about this challenge and this opportunity? And excuse me, just a moment here. Sorry about that. I just needed to fix my microphone and take a drink here. how does Oro really contemplate resolving these challenges and allowing marketers to automate their marketing activities? Well, first of all, before you can automate, before you can even think about sort of automating your marketing, you have to have a single view of your customers across all your channels. We really help companies do that. So we help bring in purchase data across multiple channels, sales data, customer conversations, and we bring all of these things, their support requests, the conversations that they're having with your company, all into a single location. And once that's all brought into a single location, all of this customer data across e-commerce, across social, across help desk, once all of this is really brought into a single location, we give tools for sales. We're not going to talk about those today because we're not talking to sales organizations. And marketing, we are going to talk about what we do for marketing organizations. We create tools for marketing organizations to action that single view of their customers. So our philosophy is gather a single view of your customer, then market based on that single view, and we create tools to allow marketers to do that. I think one thing that will be interesting is to see some of the tools that we've created, because you'll see how customers are automating, their customer management and their customer interactions. Before I actually show you the product in a little bit more detail, I actually want to share just a couple of really interesting case studies of some companies that are really doing this. So Sparesbox is actually an Australian e-commerce company. They were founded with a simple goal: to make it easier to shop for automotive parts online. They excel in meeting needs of car lovers with everything you need for car care. They are a custom parts store, which means that they have different needs than a general parts retailer. Each Sparesbox customer has needs unique to their vehicle. In fact, within their business, you have the ability to go in and create a profile, a garage, which gives them your personal information as well as information about your car. So you tell them information about your car, and then they needed a way to unify this information about the type of car you have, the purchase data, and all your communications. So communication was spread across eBay, Magento, MailChimp, Zendesk, and they wanted to bring all of this information into a single view. And once they got this information into a single view, segmentation and automation is critical. So what they were looking to do was only market to people based on the car information that the customers had given them. So when you go in and tell them you have a 1978 Ford Mustang, now they can market to you based on the car that you have. OroCRM really allows them to do that. Our flexible segmentation engine assures that every customer gets the information that is most relevant to their specific needs. And then the interesting thing is they're able to automate their interactions with the customer. So a customer who buys an oil filter most likely needs oil too. And in a few months, it's likely that they'll need fuel filters or another maintenance product. So they're able to not only segment their customers, but automate these interactions into intervals, periods of time where customers might need additional products. We've integrated there with Zendesk to consolidate customer communications, with MailChimp, which enables Sparesbox to easily segment and reach out to customers from this wide range of channels. You start to see that OroCRM becomes the central connection point to a broad range of technologies. Now, just shifting slightly, I want to tell you about Overture. Overture is a company based in North America, and since 2001, they've really created award-winning promotional products. for businesses of all sizes. So they really serve the B2B market. They serve some pretty large customers worldwide, including brands like Pepper, Uber, Google, and NBC. In 2011, they launched an e-commerce division called Blue Soda Promo to offer promotional services to businesses online. This promotional businesses offers 100,000 plus customizable promotional items. This business grew very quickly into several $1 million, which meant that they really needed a scalable, customizable CRM to ensure that they could really continue to grow. They needed a solution that would allow them to see marketing campaign results across their website, social media, in both paid and organic search. They also really needed a way to track followers for customers so no prospect fell through the cracks. Well, Oro's workflow engine really allowed marketing managers to gather metrics from individual marketing channels and campaigns, aggregate that into a single place, and start to understand which marketing activities were winning. We also were able to streamline communication. Often, this is something that's interesting for marketing automation professionals. We created workflows to actually streamline their communication with their customers. Automatic reminders are sent to customers at key intervals. Drip emails guide prospects through the sales funnel, and account representatives can see what happened in earlier communications, allowing them to touch customers at the right time with the right message. So really, it's about automating and allowing that automation to occur, but not just any automation, not just generic automation, but truly value-added, segmented, understand who your customer are, creating a better experience, marketing automation, which is really the most valuable thing to the customers. I want to actually just show you quickly how some of this happens within Oro. Just very, very quickly, I want to show you a couple of things there, and I want to, sorry about that. I want to pass it over to James. I want to just make sure though that everybody can the dashboard and make sure that there's no issues with my microphone. Looks like it's still coming through well. Because I can't hear you, I wanted to make sure that I was coming through okay. So I'm going to show you here within OroCRM how quickly and easily you can start to do some of this segmentation and how we think about allowing customers to do this. Now, none of what I'm showing is actually magic or not available to you. In fact, I'm just going to demo.orocrm.com, which is something that anybody can look at. And you can see here that you can pull up very quickly what OroCRM is capable of. First of all, when you log directly in, you see a dashboard. I'm going to take you just to two, just for the sake of time, I want to show you really two things within the product. First is what we call our account view. So this is what I've been talking about in the single view of customer. This is bringing all customer information together. We see we have an account and then contacts associated with that account. Within that account, we can actually have tags. So if we have a VIP customer or an issue customer or a customer that only likes to purchase certain products, you actually can tag them based on product purchases, based on order history, based on any information you see that you care about. That can be automated, so you can automate the tagging of customers. You see that we have lifetime sales value here at the top. Any activity associated with the customer, so all calls, emails, interactions go under customer activity. Any cases, so any customer service support issues associated with the account go under this. For you marketers, we have RFM analysis, so we can share based on a bell curve, or however you want to measure it, recency, frequency, and monetary value. So this allows you to understand at a glance how recently they purchased, how frequently they purchased, and the monetary value of the customer. And then with our integration with Magento and with some of the other integrations we've done, you can see down to the order level, down to the SKU level, what customers have purchased. So you really start to get a very powerful single view of your customer within OroCRM. Now, that account view informs everything that you can do within the product. So for segmentation purposes, we can come in here and begin to create and manage marketing lists. So I just clicked on our marketing tab, and we can start to create marketing lists right out of OroCRM. Now, what happens every 30 minutes within this demo is it actually resets, and I'm assuming that we are at the reset point. So I'm just going to log it in. It's the beauty of the live demo and having demo data that is constantly resetting. That shouldn't happen to us again because we haven't been in this very long. Here we go. And we won't be in here much longer. So I'm going to show you just the marketing list. You actually can come here and create a marketing list very easily. I'll try this again. And just for the object of this, I'll say I want to create a lifetime, my high lifetime sales value customers with actually opting with low recency. So you guys will appreciate this. I want to see customers who have purchased high lifetime sales value but haven't been here in a while. And to those customers, I actually want to reach back out because I want to understand and maybe get them back purchasing. Maybe they've gone to a competitor and I want to bring them back. So I get lifetime sales value. These are just the information that I want to gather. I'm going to get their email address because I'm going to email them. First name, and last name. You see here that I'm just filling up fields. And I want their recency. And because I want actually high lifetime sales value, I'm going to take that lifetime sales value and create a field condition. And I'm going to say I want customers that are over $500 in lifetime sales value, and in recency, I want customers who are greater than or equal to 2 in recency, because I want a low recency customers. So with that, I save and close, and there we go. I've got a marketing list. I have all my high lifetime sales value customers with low recency. And then I can actually take this list and connect it to MailChimp or to .mailer or to whatever other email marketing email system that I use. I can actually connect that list to those systems. Now, here's where, from a marketing automation and a segmentation standpoint, this is where we give the philosophical advice to our customers that they should really start. Some of our customers get overwhelmed pretty quickly when they start to think about segmentation. And what we caution or tell people to think about, whether they're using OroCRM or whether they're using their own homegrown product or whatever they're using, we typically say start with 3 to 5 segments. Start with 3 to 5 segments that feel really fit you. So get that single view of your customer. Start with a few segments. What we find is that when people are starting with even just a few segments, they're quickly seeing a 30 to 40% increase in conversion on the campaigns that they're running because of the personalization that they're doing. Now, what we also find is that they don't stop there. What happens is they start with those 3 to 5 segments, and then we come back 3 or 4 months later, and they've actually created 35 segments because they've taken that information and really sliced and diced their segments into sub-segments and subgroups, and now they're beginning to really run with the marketing campaigns that they're doing. They're naturally starting with 3 to 5 basic segments, and then from there they're creating lots of automation around the marketing activities that they're doing. They're automating abandoned shopping cart follow-ups. They're automating follow-ups to customers that haven't purchased in a while. They're automating interactions with high-value customers. We have customers that are really creating interesting segments that strategically the business didn't even know existed. We had a customer that has an average order value of $10 to $15, but they found that they had a segment of their customers that had lifetime sales value of $15,000 to $20,000 plus dollars, and that these were actually professionals, that these were actually B2B companies that were buying their product in bulk because they had such great prices. Well, this allowed them to create a whole B2B side of their business because they actually understood who their customers were. And then started creating marketing campaigns and automated campaigns to this B2B segment of their customers just because they were able to understand who their customers were. So we tell customers that the baby steps, the starting point to automation is first, understanding who your customers are, getting a single view of your customers. Second, creating relevant marketing information through customer segmentation. And then third, once you have those two things, the starting point is to automate those 3 to 5 segments and then see how you can expand from there. So with that, I want to pause. I'd love to answer any questions that you have at the end of the meeting. I will pass it over to James, who will become the presenter and show you the rest of the slides that we have here in the presentation. So with that, I'm going to pass it to James. If you want, I can just continue to manage the slides. I can hear you guys now. Okay, great. Whatever you prefer. I'd be happy to run the slides. I couldn't hear you, so I didn't know if you wanted me to run them or not.
Hello, everybody. I'm James. We're a Oro integration partner in Australia, and we've done a few Oro integrations. I realise that the topic of this talk is about marketing automation on a shoestring, so I brought Andrew with me. We do Oro enterprise integrations for large retailers, and Andrew does Oro community. So there's actually a free version of Oro, and a lot of companies use that as a pathway to enterprise. So often you start out trying it out yourself, demo version, use community. If you've got developers in-house, give it a go yourself. And once you're ready, you might want to move up to the enterprise version. But my personal experience is with enterprise, so I thought I'd give you a few insights. So up on the board here, you'll see on the left-hand side the input pieces, and all of you will have different I suppose, inputs into something like Oro. So from website integration, which could be Magento or eCommerce or Shopify or whatever your platform is, Nido. OMS and fulfillment systems, often back in the warehouse, especially if you're B2B, you've got warehouse and fulfillment systems. Help desk and live chat, obviously getting something like Zendesk in is often used there, so you get tickets from customers, live chat, conversations, and phone, all logged in against the same customer piece of information. ERP and POS data, super critical. Most of the heavy lifting we do is actually integrating the ERP and POS systems into the CRM and grabbing that data across, whether that be customer data, order data, transaction data. Sales Assist is an application we've actually developed in-house, which is a mobile application to allow you to capture leads on the fly, either on iPad, iPhone, or Android device. And actually capture leads and push it straight to the CRM, no matter where you are. What's your name, what are you interested in, you capture it and it goes to the CRM, and that can trigger automation afterwards. Beacon and traffic counters, we're using this a lot in stores for trying to actually measure conversion. So if you get your traffic counters and you get your POS data and your eCommerce data, you can actually start to measure in-store conversion, and then treat that the same way you treat e-commerce conversion. Email and SMS information, Jary talked about Dotmailer and MailChimp. We lean towards those two because they are the most compatible with Magento, but you can potentially hook in anything. Responses, Pronto, Experian, customer marketing platform, vertical response, constant contact, no matter what you're using. I probably missed about 400 others that are out there in the market that you guys might already know. But no matter what your platform is, you can push that data in as well. And then social and loyalty data, this is under development. Sweet Tooth is integrated, which is a native to Magento, a loyalty system, but there's a lot of work being done in the background trying to get social data in there as well. So imagine all that data pushes into Oro against the customer. Normally the field that you are orientated all against is the email address, but you can use like first name, surname, postcode if you want to do it that way. If you've got gaps in your email data. And then this is where all you guys come in, down the back end. Once you've got it all in there, what do you do with it? Well, that's where you start to do all sorts of funky stuff with email marketing, automation, surveys, customer behavior dashboards, customer reviews, customer loyalty, customer segmentation. So I think once you get the data, it's up to you what you do with it. And it's in a raw format. You can push it out as a report, you can push it out as an API, you can push it into whatever platform you've got, and then do your automation with it. So you don't have to change what you're already doing, but it does allow you to aggregate it. So if I go to the next slide, let me try this. Yep. Just want to talk a little bit about enablement. One of the things that we're seeing as a trend across retail is this ability for people within the stores who represent the businesses that you either are or will represent, having something in their hand. So having something in their hand that can capture a lead, capture a sale, capture information. And so part of Oro is actually saying, well, okay, how can we use a mobile-enabled device or a device that's in the hand of the person that is selling to capture that customer information and then push it into the CRM and then augment that against what you capture in the systems, POS, ERP, email, etc. Okay. Help. I'm still. Oh, there you go. Okay, this is getting a bit complicated, but I think it's worth having a look at. So if we look at an omni-channel environment, I've kind of highlighted in blue the things that are physically happening with people, and in red the things that are digitally happening. And then on the right-hand side, I've put all the different technologies that you can potentially use. And for each of you, each of those technologies on the right-hand side will be different. And for each of you, your customer contact points will be different. So it's just a sort of a slice and dice equation depending on who you are and what you're trying to do. If you go to the top, you've got your above the line, direct marketing, brand, catalogs, TV advertising, radio, if you're doing that. Search and affiliate marketing, social and blog, ED and CRMs, this is where you're retargeting people. People going to your website direct, people going to your store locator of your website specifically, because that's also a sign they're going to do something in particular. There's an offer or a campaign, either online or through one of the channels above, phone live chat, an actual physical store visitor, lead capture, EDM sign up, add to cart, buying online, throwing it in your shopping cart, buying online or buying in store, so on your e-commerce platform or in your cons. And then, okay, what happens with repeat purchase and advocacy via the CRM? On the right hand side, you've got things from Google Analytics, dashboards, insights, call centers, media platforms, POS platforms, the list goes on. And all those vary. So the challenge is to get all the data from the systems on the right hand side and push it into Oro, and that's what Oro is great for. So let me tell you about a case study. You all know probably 40 Winks, they sell beds. One of our clients, and been our clients for about 8 years. The challenge that Winks had was in-store conversion. So people, all of you who have anyone here bought a bed before? Maybe? Yep, okay. A lot of people bought a bed. Okay, you go in, you kind of look around, you sort of, line a couple, and then you walk out, or you go to the next place, right? So typically in the bedding industry, about, between 5 and 7 people just walk straight out the store. So their challenge was, how do we capture those people? How do we engage those people that are not necessarily buying, but they're interested in our product and they're interested in our brand? So we looked at all their touch points on the left-hand side, and then we worked out what happens they wanted. And the main one we focused on with them was the offline conversion rate. They wanted to understand how many people were converting in the stores. So the first thing we did was develop an application that would allow them to capture leads in the store. This was can be used on any device. So if my name's James and I work at 40 Winks in Northland, if you walk into the store and you want to buy a CE bed, I can capture your name, capture your email, capture your mobile phone number, and say I want to buy a double bed CE, bang, and straight into CRM. So during the conversation, you can have a conversation with the customer and say, hey, would you like me to flip you some information? And the marketing automation comes straight at the back of that. How's that happen? Well, they basically go, I want this, I want that, it goes bang, and then grabs the information on that particular product out of Magento and just emails them a link to that site on the website. It's pretty simple stuff, right? Or SMSs. Pretty basic, but Shoestring, there you go. Next, we obviously wanted to put it on an iPad because a lot of people that work in stores like 40 Winks are quite old, and they've got big thumbs like me and bad eyes like me. So what we realised straight away is that these devices were way too small for people who worked in the stores to get the data in and use their thumbs and stuff. So we went on an iPad and we expanded the size and the UX around that. Then we went, okay, what other data do we want to get? So we put a very simple door counter in, which counted people walking in through the door. Had to make some allowances for staff and some corrections, so it's not exactly 100 accurate, but she's getting better than nothing. Then we got the POS data in there. So what happens now is if an individual walks in through the door and buys, you actually know the ratio of people that walk in to people that purchase in the POS. Then you overlay based on the postcode territory, the data of their e-commerce system, and bingo, you've got a conversion rate. Integrated live chat, so they use Zendesk for live chat, so we integrated that in there as well. So if the customer gives their email address and they bought it on POS or they bought it on e-commerce, against that email, any live chat, phone or email transactional conversations can be captured as well, and then also thrown against the customer. So this is an example showing the Zendesk data, a conversation, whatever it is, with an email with the client, and then pushing that data straight across into Oro. So you can actually see that you could have POS data overlaid with email conversation data, overlaid with phone data, overlaid with door count data for that particular store, and you start to get this view of the store and the customer and the products they're looking at in real time. And if you use Magento, Magento community, Oro community, and the cheap SaaS systems we're talking about, it is pretty much a shoestring, particularly if you're a developer and you know how to connect all this stuff together yourself. So, okay, keep going. Also, they wanted a booking builder, so we built that. The beauty with Oro as a platform is that it's modulated. It's building the Symphony framework, so PHP Symphony. You can build modules and pieces yourself. So you can actually, whatever you want to do to innovate or customize or create a point of difference for your particular business, You can do that within Oro using the framework. These guys wanted to build a booking builder for premium products, so we built a booking builder. Next on the roadmap is to build an aggregated dashboard. We want to show dashboards for head office marketing, head office IT, regional sales managers across states, so Victoria, New South Wales, Queensland, and then also the store. And the store's a franchise, so they're really keen to know what's going on within their own store environment. So we're now looking at having a dashboard out the data to show in real time what's going on within the aggregated folio of data that we're getting in Oro. And that's kind of me done. So I don't know how we get Jary to add some questions and me as well, or there's a way, if he's still there.
I'm still there, Jary.
I had almost fallen asleep, but
Thanks very much, mate.
Look, it is 3 o'clock and it wasn't as interesting as you're talking, right?
I am here. Yes, I'm happy to answer questions.
Yeah. So we've got Jary that's still there from the States. He's got a wealth of background information in marketing, e-commerce, Magento and everything. And we have our local experts in Magento Enterprise and community platform as well. So anything to read marketing stuff, yeah?
So the examples you had was, like exactly where you said customer email to store. So can you direct marketing sequences? So for example, like actual sequences of email that you're trying to qualify the lead?
Sure. So the question, Jary, if you can probably hear on the speaker, is can you do sequencing? Trigger sequences of conversations with the customer. Do you want to have a crack at that, mate?
Yeah, absolutely. So, if I'm understanding correctly, sort of the sequencing of if somebody responds, then we go down this path. If they don't respond, then we go down this path. From an email marketing standpoint, am I understanding that correctly?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, absolutely. So that is possible. Particularly, it comes with the integration we have with MailChimp and .mailer. They have capabilities to actually do that. And with the integration of MailChimp to OroCRM, you can actually match segmentation with sequencing, which is what many of our customers are doing, because they want to mix the segmentation and the automation that comes through email marketing capabilities. Some people are doing it through other methods beyond email. Particularly people that have creative marketing activities. Absolutely are doing things beyond email.
I might add a couple of things. So typically we look at using OroCRM as the way to create the business rules and the segments and the lists and slice and dice in that framework. And then, wow, that's a bit weird. And then we use whatever tools you've got from an outbound perspective and an execution perspective to deliver those, whether that be MailChimp or Vertical Response or Bronzo or, right? So you tend to create the rules and business rules within Oro and then you use your tools to execute them. Question?
I'm not sure if this is relevant. My client is in China, for example, and they are taking addresses, emails, etc. Will this work in that sort of environment?
As long as it's online, there has to be a method to gain.
From a language perspective?
Language perspective.
I mean, whether or not you've got the Chinese input method.
So, Jary, the question was about multilingual capability around, in particular, Chinese language. I know Magento can cover that, but have you got that on the Oro framework?
Yes, so in terms of localization, I think we've been localized to about 5 or 6 different languages. I can't recall whether Chinese is localized actually from an application standpoint. I can follow up with that, but I will say that we are UTF-8 capable. So in terms of data input, there should be no problem with Chinese character data input. We can follow up with that in more detail from our product team.
The other thing I'd like to add is that we're the partner in Australia, but Oro has partners globally that we talk to all the time. Are you partners with Bluecom as well? Because I know they've got China pretty much covered from a Chinese language perspective. Maybe I think there are partners that are Chinese-based or Hong Kong-based that could help from that localization perspective.
Yeah.
You mentioned about different touch points. Can we measure something from custom mobile applications? Can we measure activities from a custom mobile application and input that into OroCRM?
Absolutely, that's what that Sales Assist application I talked to is. So it's a custom mobile application, and we put the information directly into Oro, and then we create little piping around that.
Can we do the reports as well, like from Oro, then we send output to
Sure. Yep. So that dashboard there, you can actually push that data out into a mobile interface as well. Yep.
can we use a tool to send push notifications to?
Yeah. So the beautiful thing about Oro is that it's open source PHP Symfony, all bundles. So you just create your own bundles in and out, and away you go. Do whatever you like.
So it's all open source, isn't it?
Yep. So Andrew and I represent two versions. So Andrew does community work. Andrew's done a major project with Country Racing Victoria. Did you want to just stand up for a second, Andrew, and maybe tell the guys what you did with your ticketing system with Oro with that?
Yeah, I think the important thing that hasn't really been covered off in a ton of detail is the capacity you have to build your own application. So instead of actually getting using Oro to talk to another application, the application will be built on Oro. So it's actually in itself a platform. So if anyone going to country races, horse racing, anyone, if you get a ticket online, that'll go straight through Oro. Every race course has one of these, and then they scan the ticket. So that's all Oro. So instead of going to a Ticketmaster and having 30% cut of the ticket, they use Oro for you. Or instead of having to buy millions of dollars worth of hardware, so when you go to Flemington and ticketing things, so instead of having to do that, they've got $500 funds. So I think as far as business applications is concerned, that's really the benefit that I see over and above what Salesforce does or potentially what Zoho does.
And that what they're doing on the Shoestring because of the race, the country race in the community.
Yeah, well, they didn't have millions of dollars because there's 67 racetracks around Victoria. You can't go and implement $1 million piece of hardware at 67 racetracks. It doesn't make sense. So instead of doing that, it's quite friends. And as far as deployment is concerned, of the software itself, you're just pushing into the App Store. So every time someone goes to restart their phone, it'll just prompt them to download the latest version of the app, and then they're going to go. So the only challenge really for country racing is you've got volunteers who are 80-year-olds and who don't know how to use fuck. So probably the biggest challenge.
Thanks. Cheers.
I have one question as well, Jary. I saw on the OroCRM user forums that there's a few questions that on the roadmap's coming social integration, and there's already something there in the marketplace that brings in social profiles and stuff like that, but wondering if on the roadmap is, apart from your email messaging and automation going out via email, whether there's something that's going to be there to be able to run social media campaigns via Oro as well.
Yeah, that's a great question. So let me touch on sort of what's coming, what we're working on from a social perspective, and then we'll see kind of how that fits into what you're going to kind of accomplish. So there's kind of two areas that we're really thinking about in terms of social.
One is actually adding social into the single view customer. We actually already have an integration that we created with something called Full Contact, which actually what it will do is take into a customer profile. Once you have a customer's email address, we'll actually append to that customer all their social information, actually some of their demographic information, some of their socioeconomic information, their geographic information, and basically pulling from lots of sort of online data sources. It's actually pretty amazing the amount of social data that is starting to pull, that really starting to pull into OroCRM. We're actually looking at what sort of releases over the next 6 to 9 months, how we can even make that a tighter integration so that actually once you integrate more customer information into OroCRM, that sort of out of the box, we're pulling in much more social data, and that social data will actually inform your segmentation and automation. So that's sort of one side of the social sort of piece that we're really working on. The second side is how do we actually automate the campaign capabilities that you have out to social channels. So we do have customers that are doing social marketing from OroCRM. There's a bit of customization right now, sort of technology customization, integration work that is done when they're doing that. We're actually working to remove that completely so that you can actually do social marketing directly from OroCRM into, let's say Facebook or other social channels that you're using, whether it's Instagram, Pinterest, Facebook, or other social channels. So some of this will happen, I believe it'll happen through marketplace extensions that we have, which is great. We love the community sort of filling in the gaps in the product. But some of it actually will be product level features that we're going to be working on over the next year. It's a great question. It's something we're thinking about and just trying to sort of go as fast as we can to work on it.
Hi, I'd like to know, in terms of sucking information in out of the social media, how's your relationship with LinkedIn or Meetups? Are you getting any sort of plugins that can help us extract data out of there?
Did you get that right?
I didn't catch that question. Can you repeat it, James?
Yes. So the question was about integration with the back-end, potentially, data out of LinkedIn and Meetups, whether some of those B2B type platforms are sharing their data via APIs or connectivity. That's the question.
Yeah, so it's a great question. If I'm understanding it, it's just how we integrate with things like LinkedIn, from a data standpoint. Is that correct?
Yeah, you got it.
Okay. Yeah, so that's where we've actually been looking at some of the LinkedIn information with integrations with like Full Contact, which I was talking about, which we've already done. That is one of the data sources that they pull from is LinkedIn. So that pulls into kind of the single customer view. We actually have looked at LinkedIn just as its own integration source, even separate from like an aggregated integration. I assume that over time that may be an integration built by the community, but it is something we're looking at and thinking about kind of the overall social view. Do we integrate with kind of a third-party data source that's aggregating all of that? Build individual connectors to each of the major systems. I think we're sort of leaning towards informal, but it is something we may do.
I can probably add something to that. So we're working with an Australian client right now who wants LinkedIn integrated into Oro to allow the data to
they want to know when a contact changes jobs. So they want to be informed when a contact that's integrated with Oro through other means of purchase from actually changes roles, so they can actually be alerted to a potential change in their contact. We're trying to talk to LinkedIn about that. Obviously, as Jary said, it's tough to get it direct at this point in time until the platform is, I suppose, globalised. But some of the things like full contact and some other social media aggregation platforms are already connecting into LinkedIn and freeing up the data, so we then can connecting into those. So stay tuned. That's the approach. So I think the first step will be pushing into the aggregation platforms, and the second will be direct once it matures.
Yeah, I think an important distinction that James is making, and I appreciate that he's making it, is, I'm sort of talking about, I think, what I'm chatting about is really just from a product standpoint, some of the out-of-the-box capabilities. The beauty of the product itself is we do allow for, customization to happen. So we have customers that are doing these sorts of, integrations. LinkedIn being one of them. We've actually had customers that have done sort of these integrations. It's not, it's a small to medium amount of effort from a customization standpoint. Typically, it's not been a huge effort, particularly if you're just wanting to bring in one or two sort of key data points from these systems. So it's absolutely possible. It's possible now without sort of additional capability from the product.
So I'd just like to ask a question about how you would differentiate yourself from SugarCRM. What would be some of the strengths? What would be some of the weaknesses? And then a second question or follow-up question. I saw that there was a workflow designer. Is there plans to make that drag and droppable, or piece together different workflow chains for lifecycle comms?
Okay, so the question was, how do we differentiate from SugarCRM? And then the second one was, do we have workflow capability? Is that correct?
Drag and drop workflow capability in particular. Yeah, correct.
Okay, great. So, happy to answer that question. We actually love competing with SugarCRM, and we love competing with Salesforce, actually, both of them. And actually for the same reason. What we see, the way we sort of differentiate from somebody like SugarCRM is SugarCRM, actually is built on the premise of, you can go from leads to opportunities, to actually assigning probabilities to those opportunities, and then actually closing those opportunities. And they're great for B2B salespeople to actually go through the sales process. That's why those products were built. For B2B salespeople to really go through the sales process. And there is some flexibility and customization within those parameters. We will build sort of a really different thesis, and that is that we really look around the idea of that the customer is at the center of everything we do. That the customer is critical, and actually making sure that we start everything we do from a single customer view, bringing in relevant data sources, and then from that single customer view, actually giving tools to both salespeople, to marketing people. And so we really put the marketer as equal to the salesperson in using a customer management tool. So actually, I would say at least 50% of the features that we have are for marketing folks as well as salespeople. So, all of the things that we do around creating marketing lists, managing campaigns, doing segmentation, creating and managing reports, tracking the effectiveness of your campaigns, understanding what people are doing on the website, and tracking website behavior. All of these things that we do, we just feel like are not contemplated in other CRM systems, certainly not out of the box. But with somebody like Salesforce, you can cobble it together with 3 or 4 products that they require, but then you start to get into a very expensive price tag by the time you add in
exact target and their service cloud, and all the other things that they've done. So for us, we really sort of take a different approach, and we're finding that approach is really resonating with the market. People want a customer management tool to help them understand their customers, and then give them tools to actually market to their customers. We find that particularly resonates with multi-channel businesses, people that are selling, both online and offline, or online and in point of sale, or whatever the business may be. We're also finding that even B2B businesses are shifting more and more online. There's this trillions of dollars of channel shifting that's happening in B2B businesses. That's going from offline sales to online sales, and marketers need automation and view of their customers as desperately as e-commerce retailers do. So we think we're in a unique position, and the market's starting to vote with that understanding of position. It's a great question. I really appreciate you asking it.
And what about the workflow question, Matt?
Oh, the workflow question. I'm so excited about the differentiator. Yes, we absolutely have the capabilities to create workflows, custom workflows. We have customers that are doing as unique and custom workflows as their business. The beauty of that is we actually have the ability to create workflows is as simple as creating a PowerPoint presentation, literally, where you can actually sort of say, okay, I'm going to start with this box, then arrow down and say this is the next thing that I want people to do within the workflow, and if this happens, then I want them to have this. This action, if something else happens, then I want them to have this action. So all this sequencing is available within OroCRM. Very easy to set up a dashboard. You do not have to be a coder or a technologist. You can be somebody as simple as me, a business guy can go in and actually create the workflow that's relevant to your business.
Okay, are there any more questions? I'm going to swap this microphone over.
Hi there. My name is Eliza, and the company that I work for specializes in web accessibility. So we're actually looking now at different CRM options and wondering about the accessibility of Oro. And by that, I don't mean the accessibility of the code, because it's open source, so that's great, but I mean if our users and staff are going to be able to actually use the platform, color contrast and text size change and whatnot.
Did you get that question as about web accessibility and the capability of Oro to undertake that?
Yeah, is the question more around like ease of use?
No, disability access, is that correct? So color contrast, access control, WCAG, yeah.
Sorry, can you repeat that? And like access control layers and those sorts of things?
So, like, for example, I do marketing at the company, but other people would need to access the CRM as well, people in sales and other aspects of the company. And if one of them has a vision impairment, for example, or is blind or has some other kind of disability, how is the interface going to be for them in navigating Oro? Does that help?
It totally helps. So I think there's a few parts to that question. I know that there are some, like particularly in the US, there are some software codes around, there's some coding standards around accessibility, and we're trying to sort of work around all those. Just from a practical standpoint, the user interface is incredibly simple, and you actually have complete, customizability in terms of how you set up the user interface, particularly maybe for people that that need sort of a simpler, different, or an easy to use sort of interface. That's absolutely possible. We also see just maybe from a different angle, from an access control layer, which is, I think, part of the question as well. You, as a marketer, would and could have a completely different view than a customer service person, or even maybe somebody on the executive team who would need, let's say, a customer service person has a very limited workflow that they would work through, or a very limited sort of view of the product. You absolutely can set up different role-based access based on the type of user that you're setting up, so that your customer service team does not see all the marketing capabilities that you would see with the product. Your CEO would maybe have some access to some dashboards and some reports, but you don't want your CEO to actually go in and change a bunch of marketing activities that you won't be able to restrict that. And then you give yourself access, as you like the product. So, with that, we try to make it as simple as possible for, overall we try to make the application as simple as possible, but even, simplifying the example to use cases of how we can use it.
I might add a couple of things to that. So, because of the way that it's built in PHP on the Symphony framework and bundles, you can theme the UX experience specifically. So what you could do if you wanted was to work out which user access control groups you want to see certain themes or interfaces, and then show them a different version of the same data pushed into a different UX. Does that make sense? So because it's open source, we can actually build it around, and we've done that obviously with Magento as well. So some clients that wanted full accessibility or bonds.
Would you be able to tell us who are some of your main e-commerce customers? And I'm thinking of the high volume, the likes of ASOS, that sort of thing, who sell products all over the world, both in the US or internationally and also Australia.
So the general wants to know which clients globally that are quite large that Oro represents. I can always share the screen back with you if you've got a slide on that one. Let me try this.
You know what? I won't share a slide on sort of customers, but I will just sort of.
Can you grab the screen back? Or do I have to do that?
I can, but I think the question is just around customers, is that right?
Yeah, just the names of some of the larger customers that you're representing.
Yeah, so it's branding. I would say just from a national standpoint, within Australia, some of the companies that we're working with are 40 Weeks, Sydney Beach, Spares Fox, some of these Robert's World, which is actually rolling this out in multiple locations. But even in the US, we have a large financial advising firm that's actually rolling this out globally to 10,000 financial advisors. We have a large pharmaceutical company that's rolling this out worldwide across all of their divisions. We have lots of global e-commerce companies that are using the product. We have customers from UK to France to US to Canada to Brazil to several in Australia and New Zealand. So that is sort of our open source roots and heritage is we've actually been able to expand the product adoption and growth well past sort of the size of the team.
I could possibly send you some slides of the customers that they built systems for and talk you through. We've got about a dozen projects running for Australian B2B and B2C retailers right now, so no worries. One more and then I reckon we'll let Jary go back to bed.
Does community edition provide APIs, and what is the cost for enterprise edition license cost?
Do you want to have a go at that, mate? Does the community edition provide APIs, and how much does the enterprise edition cost?
Yeah, so community edition, absolutely, there's API support with the community edition. We don't have the ability to integrate based on the version. The enterprise version, we charge $59 per user per month. So just to give you a sense for what a user is somebody who's actively using the system. I think the biggest opportunity for the product it is in small marketing teams that are just using the product for marketing. They're able to get up and running very, very quickly, start to see lots of value for very little money because of the fact that they just have a handful of marketers on the team but are able to have kind of worldwide impact. So that's the cost of the software.
Just to add to that, so it's $59 US per user per month, and in a lot of cases, we're seeing companies start using it with 6 or a dozen licenses. So you don't need a license for every single individual that ever uses the system. You need a license for every single user type or regular user of the system. So yeah, we're seeing companies bump in using 6 or a dozen and then scaling up as they start to use the system and get ROI over time. Is there a minimum number of seats, mate?
Yes, there is. It's 5.
Okay, I think we'll let you go to bed. What time is it there right now, mate?
It's 3:20 a.m. But this was the best reason to wake up early and get going. So
and have you recovered from your team Hawks losing on the weekend?
Really fun. I really enjoyed it. Thanks, guys.
Hey Jary, before you go, the Hawks lost on the weekend. Have you recovered or?
Sorry, what was the question?
Jary worked for the Hawks the last time he came to Australia to visit. He became a Hawks fan, and they lost on the weekend. I'm just wondering whether you've recovered or not.
I haven't. I actually didn't even know. So.
All right. Luckily, you didn't know. All right. Perfect. Hey, thanks.
You ruined my Monday morning.
We're in Hawthorne. That's the thing, you see. So, Max, do you want to just say a couple of words?
And thank you very much, Jary. That was really great. Appreciate you and you guys coming out as well from Balance and stuff. It's been really good. I think we got a lot out of it.